All of you might have heard about the parable of the blind man and an elephant. The story of 6 blind men groping different parts of an elephant and coming out with their own perception of what it is are known to many. Based on what they touched, they felt. The ear of the elephant as a type of fan, the trunk felt like a big snake, the tusk felt like a hard, smooth spear, leg as a tree trunk, the side felt like a type of wall, and the person who felt the tail of the elephant considered it as a rope. The purpose of any parable is not delimit any person's inner capacity, but provide an insight. This parable establishes research done on the human tendency to claim absolute truth based on their limited subjective experience as they ignore other people's limited subjective experiences which may be equally true. Employee engagement and productivity is like this. We have a lot of information on employee engagement practices, but the individualistic subjective way of perceiving this creates organizational issues in building effective employee engagement or productivity. There are 4 basic elements in employee engagement. It is a proactive, defined company-wide plan. It is the understanding of the nature of relationship between the organization and its employees. Each context varies, and hence understanding the context and commitment of leadership need to be defined. And the 4th element is to ensure qualitative and quantitative measures. We can call it as 4 tenets of employee engagement. Let us understand the context of the project we did. A 80 plus years manufacturing company with a 3rd-gen family running the organization with a top line of around $200 million and a bottom line of around 15%. The leadership was autocratic and benevolent and does not want to take any adverse decisions on people-related matters, except in cases of unethical practices. Since there was not much competition, the leadership was complacent about the growth of its competitors, and its impact was seen by 2010, and the company had posted loss for 2 years, and by 2019, the profitability has come down drastically. With huge employee cost, productivity per person was lower than the industry average. Loss for 2 years, operational cost going up, legacy mindset, etc. have made the new leadership term to address one of the most important issues facing them, employee productivity. We have deployed a 5-star approach with a key belief in developing an in-house perspective and align with the business purpose of the organization innovatively. Let us go by each of the stage and understand what we did. We have done individual structured interactions with key and critical team members and then conducted structured and informal group interactions with stakeholders cutting across the levels to capture and understand the needs and the differing perspectives. While doing this, we have looked at multiple models and external customers' voices based on research on engagement and shared the same in structured group meetings. Various models on employee engagement clearly indicate that the concept was formally brought in as a structured process in 1990 and evolved over the years through studies of Kahn, Schmidt, Robinson, Penna, et al. It fundamentally talks about the meaning of the role of an employee in the organization with a perspective of involvement, value, and safety of an employee in broader terms. The external customer's voice clearly indicated that there is a huge disconnect between the concept and execution. It also indicated that millennials are looking for a space for being creative, explorative, and valued in workplace and by the customers. Leaders across the world are looking at retention and engagement of key personnel as number 2 priority after leadership pipeline development. After identifying the need and sharing it with the key members of leadership, step 2 was to build a framework anticipating future needs. Based on first step, we identified major current concerns and future challenges and developed a framework which is transitional in nature so that it can be moved up from current stage to future needs in a gradual manner, and accordingly, technology can also be upgraded. Step 3 was to analyze all the information received and build a common agenda. We used explorative facilitation process to define purpose and values of the organization, which are futuristic, measurable, and can easily relatable to employees. Then we developed a purpose for employee engagement. Why we are doing what? Out of so many theories and concepts, I echo the simple explanation on employee engagement given by Jacob Morgan. That is, the purpose of employee engagement is to create an experience through a synergistic process of culture, technology, and physical space. Without aligning these three elements, we cannot create an employee experience or better productivity. We then defined measures, roadmap, and accountabilities aligned to the purpose. In step 3, we also defined 3 key concepts of employee engagement: engaged, disengaged, and productive employee. Engaged employee is the one who is fully committed to deliver. Disengaged employee can range from someone doing the bare minimum at work to an employee who is adversely impacting the organization's performance and image. And productive employee means someone who adds value as per customers' expectations, aligning to functional and business purpose. People join an organization to add value, but the internal culture and lack of effective processes may become stumbling blocks for employees to move beyond their limitations. Therefore, there is a need to understand these concepts clearly and build processes to make the engaged employee become a productive employee. Step 4 was to help the HR team to identify execution issues and budgeting processes with a focus on sustainability. We have developed a talent card for the entire company covering passion, earlier achievements, etc. Bucketed the programs into caring, belonging, and inspiring with a focus on creating an experience for employees. We also created a brand for each stream of employee engagement like health, safety, sports, retirement, etc. and calendarized and documented the entire process for sustainability. Step 5 was to assimilate all action points to help provide a business solution. Identified multiple areas of impact based on the challenges, current and future. Realigned functional business structure. Developed measures with a higher focus on business impact and effectiveness rather than efficiency. Efficiency means improving the HR function's ability to execute. Effectiveness indicates the value added to other functions through the events, programs, and interventions. And impact is the overall business impact of the initiatives at the organizational level. We also built a process of review mechanism with a flexibility to use technology as we go by. We could deliver enough value to the business through this project. The most critical was to create a more responsive leadership towards people and their engagement with the company for sustaining the initiatives. I have coined a new term, organizational obesity, for this project. As all of you are aware, once we get obesity, it becomes extremely painful to shed the accumulated fat, and it needs a systemic, continuous approach to address the issue. I repeat, a systemic, continuous approach. More critical is the need to have a constant review of the status of obesity and actions, which otherwise bring back the obesity in a couple of years. In other words, even if we have taken necessary action towards building a productive workforce, in a couple of years, we may end up having an adverse environment if appropriate constant review and consistent actions are not taken. Let us look at the 5 key lessons learned from the project. 1. Do a dipstick survey to understand the culture and mindset of leadership and use this data to influence the leadership and the board. We have used a customized simple 10-point questionnaire. We need to develop a purpose for the organization and align it synergistically with all functions. Realignment of roles of key and critical employees is a must to develop a culture of productivity. Communication and conduct of leadership should be very authentic and consistent. Each organization is a living organism and issues and solutions would be contextual. Learning from this project, we have also developed a framework of upload for making the process sustainable and using the term and the visual image as a metaphor for appreciation of being associated with the company, which may be useful to you too. Upload stands for audit with clear action plan, be purposeful, focus on productivity, aligning with other people processes, build a long-term perspective, extending it to family in an innovative manner, assimilate all processes with a focus on internal customer needs, understand and brand each initiative, and lastly, deploy resources very carefully. This was one of the best projects we have done and the learning was immense. As you all may be aware, employee engagement is an experience which needs to be created as a collaborative process innovatively. You may reach out to us to create an integrated employee experience process to build a productive workforce. Thank you.